know that we can do it. We have so many great things to talk about, and it's going to be a really exciting election. But it is hard in these off-year elections to get people out. So we're counting on all of you to help us motivate friends and neighbors to start knocking on doors, reminding people that their mail-in ballots are due, and to vote those ballots, and just really getting our wonderful candidates across the finish line. So thanks again, Marie, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Great to have you. And thanks for everything that you're doing in DC on our behalf.
Always my pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. It is a really dicey time down here. It's not actually that fun, but it's always my pleasure to work for the people of New Jersey. So thanks again.
Well, we're honored to have you here tonight. Thank you so very much.
Thanks.
Harvey, I'm not sure that Congressman Kim is on, so you might want to move to Beverly.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
Congressman Kim, he is on.
I knew I saw him running down he was running down the steps of the Capitol to get on with you guys. Oh, good.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you, Congressman Kim.
Mikie over in her car, so I had to get out of the way.
Well, Congressman Kim, very nice to meet you on a Zoom. I certainly have spent a number of times on your campaign over the years. You and I have met. So thank you so much for taking the time as well to be on here. If you just give me a minute to introduce you to our Cape May County voters here. Congressman Kim represents the 3rd Congressional District and is the proud son of Korean immigrants born and raised in America, the product of New Jersey public schools, a Rhodes Scholar, national security expert, public servant, husband, and proud dad of 2 growing young children. He and his wife are raising their children just a few blocks from where he grew up because his community has meant everything to him and his family. His father suffered from polio as a child, grew up without parents, and even was homeless for parts of his childhood. His mother grew up in a farming community that experienced famine and hunger. His father, however, went on to become a PhD scientist who dedicated his life to finding a cure for cancer and Alzheimer's, and his mother became a nurse and helped serve thousands of people right here in South Jersey. His parents chose to raise him and his sister in South Jersey because they believed in the top-notch public school system would give them the best opportunities to succeed. And that education did help him become a Rhodes Scholar and a leading national security expert, working at the Pentagon and in Afghanistan as a civilian advisor to the military, in addition to working at USAID and the White House National Security Council. Congressman Kim supports strong measures that boost our economy, but investing in small businesses, creating fairness and opportunities for working families, and honoring America's promise to military, family, and veterans. Since being elected to Congress, Congressman Kim has sent out over 332 newsletters, has answered 259,820 constituent requests for help, 5,634 cases he has resolved, and has estimated that over $30 million has been returned to the constituents while he has been serving. Congressman Kim serves on the House Armed Services Committee, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and China. And again, I have to echo how lucky we are to have you representing us here in the state of New Jersey, Congressman. So without further ado, it is my honor and a privilege to introduce Congressman Kim.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to duck out from the Capitol to be able to talk with all of you. I look forward again to know you all better. While I have to sit outside the building, I will just share with you. Let's see if I can show you the view that I have. So it's an amazing view that I get to look at, and just a real honor to be able to work at the Capitol every single day that I'm down here. So look, the main thing I just want to say that I've learned over the course of the last couple years is, first of all, I never thought that I'd be doing this job. Before I was in public service, I was a diplomat, worked for this country, but served in a nonpartisan way. I decided to step up to run because, frankly, I'm a dad, and I got concerned about what kind of America my kids are growing up in. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to step up, and the main thing that I'll convey is what I've learned over the last couple years, and why I wanted to join with you all today, is I've really come to believe that the opposite of democracy is apathy. It's if we give up. It's if we feel helpless, and if we give into that helplessness, which is why I'm just so proud of the candidates stepping up here. I just have tremendous amount of respect for people who are willing to put their name on the ballot, put their name out there, and engage in this democratic process that we have. I understand, oftentimes we do so not knowing whether or not we're going to be able to pull it off and actually win. When I first started to run for office in Congress, there were a lot of folks that said I had no chance of being able to win this district. Trump won my congressional district in 2016. My opponent won by 20 points in his previous election. You guys know how tough that area is in Ocean County and elsewhere. You got your own challenges that you got to face as well. But I was able to pull it off, win this seat. And in 2020, Trump still won my congressional district, but I was able to win it too. And it really shows that if you make that kind of connection, if you reach out and explain to people what it is that you're trying to do, and you show people that you're trying to serve them, you can break through. And so that was something that was very humbling to be able to understand that and to try to think through what it means to be able to connect. And Mikie and I, we're here in DC trying to fight the fights here. This week has been going to be a real battle when it comes to our budget and trying to avert a shutdown. But we need really strong partners back in New Jersey to work with us and to engage with us. We learned that during the pandemic. We learned that right now in terms of the implementation of the Inflation Reduction Act or the bipartisan infrastructure law. All of these are things that are going to continue to require us to work hand in hand. So I want to help out in any way I can. I'm just proud kid to grow up in South Jersey, and want to help out all of you in terms of what you're trying to do. I'm really proud of the candidates, but also just proud of the community that you all have built, working together, trying to get the word out. And again, not giving into that apathy, never saying that, this is too big of a problem, too big of a challenge to face. So just keep up the good work. I look forward to continuing to see how you all are doing, and don't hesitate to reach on out if there's ever anything else I can do. So with that, I'll let you get on with the program, but thanks so much for letting me jump on for a little bit.
Oh, Congressman, it's our pleasure and our honor, and we couldn't be happier that you and Congresswoman Sherrill are serving on behalf of the state of New Jersey. And both of you keep up the good work as well. Thank you. I'll turn this back over to Harvey.
Right. Thank you very much. I'd like to call on Beverly McCall, our candidate for Cape May County surrogate.
Thank you, Harvey. Good evening, everyone. My name is Beverly McCall, and I'm running for Cape May County surrogate as a Democrat. Some of you might know me. For those who don't, I'm a lawyer for 39 years. I live in Ocean City. My office is in Sea Isle City. And a large part of my practice has been in the work of the surrogates domain. I do many guardianships, both of adults and of children. I do a lot of adoptions, adults as well as children, and I do a lot of estate work. Many of the clients who hired me to do their wills when I first started, their children are now coming to me needing help in probating the wills, and that's what the Office of the Surrogate does. So with that, I'll turn it back to Harvey, and thank you for your time tonight. And if you have any questions, please call me at any time. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Bev. I'd like to recognize Christopher South from the Cape May County Herald. Mr. South, do you have questions for the candidates?
Not just at this moment.
All right. Okay. Our first question from the audience tonight is for our Cape May County Commission candidate. what do you see as one of the best ways to make county government more responsive to the voice of the constituents?
Hi, I'm Patricia O'Connor. I'm running for Cape May County Commissioner. I think it's important to listen to the residents of Cape May County. Not only have I been out talking to residents, somebody said to me, "Oh my goodness, Patricia O'Connor, she's like the ABC news van. I see her everywhere." But I'm also gotten very involved in the nonprofit world as well, meeting with branches and Cape Hope and some of the other nonprofit agencies within Cape May County. And also understanding the grant process that we have throughout the state. When I first decided to run, I went to our builders website, and I saw that our governor Murphy had reduced some of the zoning laws and then issued about $19.8 million in affordable housing grants, and none of that money came down to Cape May County. There was another grant funding for affordable housing where 43 projects were issued throughout the state of New Jersey. Only one came to Cape May County. So we need to do a better job of understanding the grant structure, the nonprofit structure, understanding the needs of the residents, and putting that all together.
All right, thank you. This is for Beverly. Question: could you explain a little bit more specifically what the surrogate's duties are?
So the surrogate, sometimes the person is called the surrogate judge, is the person who gets the files, goes over them to make sure, for instance, in an adoption, that the complaint is properly prepared, that the division of child place permanency, used to be called DIFUS, has provided its necessary paperwork, that the surrenders of the natural parents are there. Once all the paperwork's processed, the surrogate, in my experience, goes into court with the judge and presents the case to the judge. Now, my opponent is not a lawyer. I'm not sure how those matters are being handled currently. As far as probate, when someone passes away and their executor brings in a will to the office, then there has to be certain forms filled out, and the surrogate examines the will, and if everything's in order, issues what's called short certificates, which are a little half-page version of testamentary letters that either appoint the person the executor or executrix of the will, and if there's no will, they're appointed as the administrator of the estate. And if there's a guardianship matter for a child, then again, the paperwork has to be processed and presented to the court, and the judge then makes his or her determination as to whether that guardianship should be granted.
All right, thank you very much. For Ms. White Morris, what is your position on the extension of Route 55 into Cape May County, both as a spur to economic development as well as an emergency exit route in extreme weather?
My position on it, I believe, based upon what I know, and I don't know intricate details, that it would be a great opportunity for Cape May, just because it is a tourist area and we are looking for economic development. So if you have 55 that comes into there, you are able to bring larger trucks, and it doesn't have to mess up your street roads, and get the supplies that's needed to help build the economic development in your area. So I support it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bonner, what is your position on the gap in state pension payments, considering that over $7 billion in pension contributions have been scheduled for the current fiscal year. Are you committed to keeping public pensions healthy?
Not only am I committed to it, I really would like my cost of living adjustment that I haven't received in the last 14 years for the time I put in. I think we're entitled to it. We paid into it, and anybody that paid into it, they're entitled to it. So the payments should continuously be made as they are supposed to be made. And I will guarantee in front of you all that I will do my best to make that happen, because it should happen.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connor,
Hello, Rachel Green.
would you comment on the staffing level changes at the Crest Haven facility under the proposed privatization plan the current commission board is pursuing? And are there any methods to increase billing and collection at the current facility that could be helpful?
I did visit Crest Haven. I've read every article possible that's been published on Crest Haven. I cannot answer all those questions specifically, but what has been told to me during my visits and while attending commissioners meetings is that the staffing level in the administration office was 8 people. It's now down to 2, and they are not collecting the amount of money that should be coming into Crest Haven. Therefore, that's some of the reasons for some of the deficits. The other thing I felt very good about is the people that spoke at the commissioners meeting, and it was repeated when I visited Crest Haven, is they have a lot of ideas on how to better serve the residents and also make money for Crest Haven. It's as if the commissioners weren't listening to them. They have a beautiful physical therapy area that's which have a higher profit margin, and they could be using some of those facilities to generate revenue into Crest Haven so we can better serve our residents.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bonner, what steps could the legislature take to help make New Jersey a safer place for residents?
Oh my. I think to do that, it actually starts with the education. Our children are hurting because they're not being educated, because educators feel unappreciated. And as of July 2023, 51,000 educators left the state of New Jersey for that reason. So if we can't educate them and empower them to understand that there are laws and rules that are governed by this state, we're lost. They're not being educated. We have to educate them first before we can do anything. So it starts in the school. We have to start in the schools. Give the educators back their authority to educate and discipline. And I think we can go from there. That's the starting point.
Thank you. Thank you. For Ms. McCall, how could the surrogate's office better serve senior citizens in Cape May County?
Well, I know that there are some forms that are available on the surrogate website. In my opinion, that could be vastly improved. I think also the court system, the Superior Court, municipal courts have an e-filing system. The surrogate's not a part of that. And I think that would be very helpful for people who might not want to make a trip down to the courthouse, because that can be kind of onerous, especially if you're in the middle of planning your loved one's funeral. You don't want to have to be traipsing down and sitting in the surrogate's office to process your papers. I also think that community meetings, many times I've gone to churches and I've done living wills for people, powers of attorney. I think that kind of interaction is good, because a lot of people don't know a lawyer. They don't feel comfortable talking to a lawyer about their personal matters. Sometimes getting to know a lawyer that you can count on, or the surrogate, for example, could be very helpful to people.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connor, what more should Cape May County government be doing to address the lack of affordable housing here in Cape May County?
I think we should be doing a lot more. I think if I were elected to be Cape May County Commissioner, I would put together a commission of all the towns so that the affordable housing issue can be addressed on a countywide basis. Now, I am a proud member of the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce, and there was a committee that focused on affordable housing in Cape May. So even although I am not officially a commissioner, and regardless of the results of the election, I have already reached out to the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce to form a committee to look at affordable housing countywide. And it has to be a public-private partnership. We need to be working together with NJHMFA, which is the statewide housing agency, and we need to understand what grants are available throughout the county, what zoning can be looked at so that we can address issues. I do not know all the details in Whitesboro, but the roads issue there is something that needs to be addressed. And if we could get grant monies for infrastructure in towns like that, then I think that could go a long way in solving some of the affordable housing issues. I'm also currently interviewing with a company that finances manufactured housing. I feel very strongly that manufactured housing are high quality housing that can be used to address the affordable housing crisis across the country, not just in Cape May County. And it could potentially serve dual purposes, meaning it could create good paying jobs and build housing that we need for our entire economy in Cape May County.
All right, thank you very much. The next question is for both Mr. Bonner and Ms. White Morris, and we'll take a response from Mr. Bonner first. Would you support State Senator Andrew Zwicker's New Vote Improvement Act, which would allow 17-year-olds to vote in the New Jersey primary election in June if they will turn 18 before the general election in November of the same year? Mr. Bonner?
I most definitely would. I most definitely would support it. Because if
And-
you have a 17-year-old wanting to vote, that means they're aware of the issues. And that's what we need.
All right. Ms. White Morris?
Yes, I would support it, and I agree with Mr. Bonner. And not only having them aware of the issues is important, but having them involved so they can be the ones that can carry on a torch once we term out, or as we get older or no longer are available to run in these positions. It gives us a new group of a new demographic group to work with, to teach them, to educate them, and to train them up to be the representatives that we need in our respective areas. So yes, I would support it.
All right, thank you. Ms. McCall, the surrogate is the deputy clerk of the Superior Court Chancery Division probate part. The surrogate dockets, reviews, and schedules all actions pertaining to will contests, estate matters, accountancy, mental incompetencies, guardianships of incompetence, and all adoptions. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your legal career has prepared you for this position and contrast your experience against that of your opponent?
Sure. Again, to reiterate, my opponent is not a lawyer. She was an investigator at the Cape May County Prosecutor's Office until she retired from there. She then ran for freeholder at the time and was elected, and then was appointed the surrogate to fill Dean Marcolongo's term since he became a Superior Court judge. So obviously she has no experience. Now, my experience, almost 39 years being a lawyer, I've done thousands of adoptions. I think I did the first gay adoption in New Jersey. I've done private adoptions. I've done DIFUS adoptions. I've done grandparent adoptions. And I've even done adult adoptions, which are very interesting. There's no happier day at the courthouse than an adoption. Sometimes the child invites their classmates, their friends. I've packed the courtroom with hundreds of people, all who are the extended family of my clients, who are the parents and child. The judges are in a good mood. And of course, you know, the little kid who's getting adopted is in a great mood. They always get a little stuffed animal from the surrogate's office as a little remembrance. So of course, we all love adoptions. As far as guardianships, I've done guardianships for people who have reached the age of 18 and are disabled and need someone to be appointed to guide them through the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security nightmare that some of you might be aware of, that befalls people once they are no longer a minor. And probate matters. My husband, he died it'll be 3 years ago next month. And so I know from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of you do too, what it takes out of you to have to probate an estate. It's mind-boggling. And, you know, as my career has evolved over the years, I feel privileged to have been able to help all my clients, especially in these kind of matters. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
The next question is for Ms. O'Connor. What is your opinion of the budget practice of holding the tax rate steady while actually collecting more in the county tax levy due to an increase in assessed value of taxable property?
That's an issue. And I think that's where some of the trust and transparency issues with the current commissioners is there's a hole. I mean, currently there is 30% of the county commissioner's budget is in the other category. And we have a request for proposal to get the budget in an Excel spreadsheet so that we can drill down on this a little bit more. But that's a lot of money, almost $80 million that's in the hands of our commissioners, all Republicans with no balanced government and no other oversight. And they can set their own priorities without really understanding what the needs and wants of the residents of Cape May County are.
All right, thank you. This is a question for Ms. White Morris. What is your position on the School Funding Reform Act, also known as the S2 law, and the perceived imbalance of support in many school districts, especially here in Cape May County?
My position, based off of my knowledge, is that we need to go back and re-examine what was already re-examined. But in order for us to do that effectively and efficiently, we must have a seat at the table and understand what it is that we're looking at and understanding where we need to effectively allocate those funds and create a formula that is fair across the board and not just one-sided. So I think that we need to go ahead and re-examine what is re-examined and make sure that Cape May, Cumberland, and Atlantic County has a seat at the table so we can effectively voice our concerns. Thank you.
Question for Mr. Bonner. Where do you stand on additional funding being added to the Shore Protection Fund that funds beach replenishment? That's a real important issue for many of the shore communities here in Cape May County.
Being as I frequent the shore because I love it there, And I look at the beach erosion. I think it's very important that there's funding to keep that the way it is. Because if we don't, that's going to erode, and all those beautiful homes are going to go into that water. Then we have no tourist attractions. We have no income coming into South Jersey, pretty much, because that's basically the income in South Jersey. So if we don't shore up that fund, add more money to that fund, we're going to perish. We're already these three counties that myself and Ms. White are trying to represent. We're the three poorest counties and third richest state in the country. Makes no sense to me. That fund needs to be shored up.
Thank you. Question for Ms. O'Connor. If the current county commissioners successfully privatize the Crest Haven facility, what steps do you see that could be taken to sustain the Meals on Wheels program, which is a very successful and very popular program here in Cape May County?
I will do my best to work with ASME and any of the other unions to keep the Meals on Wheels going. They produce 1,000 meals a day, and that will be outsourced if Crest Haven is outsourced. One of the things that was so striking at the county commissioners meeting that I attended a few days ago was they showed the meals that were prepared by other facilities that are private. It was like a sloppy piece of white bread with a sloppy meatball and very little broccoli. The meals are spending like $1 or $2 or some really small amount of money to serve to the residents of Crest Haven. And I really feel strongly that the Meals on Wheels program will be hurt if Crest Haven is privatized.
Thank you. Ms. White Morris, how can the legislature affect public education to meet the needs of changing New Jersey students?
That's all to the question? It looked like you wanted to say a little bit more.
That was the end of the question.
Okay. How legislation can help is I believe that we would have to work with NJEA to see how we can effectively get legislation that's going to help all education from the north to the south and from the south to the north. We must be able to have a roundtable discussion to discuss the issues and put effective legislation into place. Thank you.
Thank you. Beverly did. Okay, that's fine. Okay. This is a question that has come up. I'd like to ask it of all four of you. Let's start with Mr. Bonner. What compels you to run for the assembly?
I am tired of what we see. Politicians forget they serve at the will of the people. But once they get there, they serve for themselves. In my opinion, they can be bought. I can't be bought. I have morals and values. And I want to bring those morals and values to Trenton. If I'm elected, when I'm elected, I serve you. It's not hard for me to come to one of your meetings and say, hey, what do you need here? We don't see a politician unless they need a vote. I'm probably the most accessible person you'll ever meet. We need to change. New Jersey and the rest of the country is going to hell in a handbasket. They are rolling back so many of our inalienable rights. They're just taking them away because we don't have a voice. We won't speak up until after it happens. We're being reactive instead of proactive.
Did you eat, Jeff?
I will be proactive. We have to change what they consider the norm. It's not the norm, not for us. We're hurting, and I'm running to try and change it.
Thank you. Ms. White Morris, what compels you to run for the assembly?
What caused me to run for assembly are my parents and my children. My parents are both in their 80s. My father passed away recently. And as being a caregiver, it was very challenging to get support for my parents to help take care of them because they made 11 cents too much on a retired Social Security income. A lot of their medication I had to pay for out of pocket. I actually had to move back home to help take care of my parents because they didn't have the financial means to take care of their household as well as their medical bills. I'm also running because I am the mother of 5 daughters. It is very important that I pave the way, help pave the way for my daughters to be productive, to get education, to have economic stability, to have rights, to be able to go and do all of the things that we can do now and then some. It is very important for me to pave the way, just as individuals have paved the way for us to be where we are today. So that is why I'm running to hope. So in hopes of affecting change that will come years and years and years and years down the road to not just benefit us on this call today, but benefit our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and many generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. So Connor, what compels you to run for county commissioner?
Hi, Harvey. People ask me this question all the time. And I answer it this way. I feel as though politics was always in my blood and the opportunity did present itself. And I really do sincerely believe that I can make a difference. We need to develop our economic base in Cape May County, and I'm an economics and finance person. We need to do something about the affordable housing problem that we have here in Cape May County. I believe in diversity. I believe in the special needs population. I believe in having a better place for Cape May County. And I think we can do better, a lot better. And I think someone with the experience in banking can really add a lot to our county. That's why I'm running.
Thank you. Ms. McCall, what compels you to run for Cape May County surrogate?
Well, I have to tell you a funny story. Some of you might have known my late husband, Frank. So he loved politics. He was the consummate politician. He was mayor in Wildwood Crest. He ran for council and was on council in Ocean City. He ran for mayor, lost in Ocean City. So I'm the least political person you'll ever know. One time I was at one of his debates at the Ocean City High School with the other candidates. And afterwards he came down, to the audience and he said to me, you got to stop rolling your eyes. Every time somebody said something, maybe a little off, you rolled your eyes. So I said, I can't help it. It's an involuntary reflex. So what compelled me to run? And I wasn't planning to run for surrogate, but enough people wrote me in on the ballot and I secured a position to be able to run as a Democrat. So I'm running to help people. I'm running to make it easier for people to go through those legal processes as opposed to harder. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. South, do you have any questions you'd like to pose?
Yes, thanks. It's difficult to switch back and forth. I've been trying to type my notes here and go back and forth between the Zoom and my word processing. So I'm gonna use a pen and paper right now to
take the old-fashioned
things
method.
down.
Sure.
So I've heard, and if we could, hear from the assembly candidates both talk about education and the importance of education. What do you feel about the importance of home rule as far as choosing what kind of education children get? Currently, the governor is involved in lawsuits to tell certain communities what should be taught and that the state would set the curriculum. So this is a very controversial issue. What do you think about home rule and the municipalities deciding, or the individual school districts deciding what should be taught as opposed to the state? It's a long question, but
I'll take a stab at that.
mhm.
Because I am an educator and there is a lot of rich history in my community, I think that home rule could work along with, it shouldn't be the sole rule, but it could work along with what the state is implementing, because there may be some information and there may be some history that is in your communities that should be incorporated into your curriculum. But if the state says we want you to do this, with the home rule, it will allow the school districts and the municipalities to say what they will teach about their area. So I believe I'm in favor of that. But it does need to come with some guidelines, though. Let me not leave that out.
Mr. Bonner.
Well, I mean, I don't think the state should tell anybody what to teach because certain people want certain things taught. I'm a history buff, and I'll lead with that. I like history. But are they teaching all the history? No, because some persons don't like this and some don't like that. So I think it should be left up, my personal opinion, because I'm in a school every day. You need to talk to these educators. They're the ones that's doing it. They're the ones that they took the authority away from to educate. I think everything should be taught. I don't care if you say, well, I don't like this because I'm with the state, and I don't like this because I'm in this county. No, it should encompass everything that brought us to where we are today. That's how I feel about education.
Okay.
You're back on mute, Mr. South. We can't hear you.
Muted again, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. The dog jumped off the sofa and my mouse went flying, and my wife's on her way in, and there's probably going to be some noise. How are we going to house the workforce that's needed in the summertime? We're losing affordable housing, losing apartments. It seems more and more difficult to find a place to live. So how are we going to make sure that the people who work to sustain the community have a place to live?
I think housing, I mean, everybody can certainly talk to this, but I think housing is a supply issue. And we need to reach out to our builder partners and see what we can do about increasing the supply of housing, not just in Cape May. It is a national problem right now. And whether we solve it with manufactured housing or other types of housing stock, those are the things I think we should be looking at. We should be requiring our employers to offer grants on top of the grants that are available from the state. You could put those in what's called third lien position, and they can be forgivable over a period of time. We need not only affordable housing to own, we need affordable housing to rent. So, communities like Meadowlark that were created by Conover, those are the types of things that we should be replicating.
Okay.
But I feel really strongly about manufactured housing. It's something that I've really been studying.
To piggyback off of Ms. O'Connor, if I can, when it comes to affordable housing, I think we need to take a look at to see what the requirements really are, because I found out of a term. It's called Allison. I'm Allison because I'm the working poor. I don't qualify for the large loan but I don't qualify for affordable housing. So where do I fall at in the middle to be able to provide adequate housing for my family if I don't meet all of the requirements on both sides of the table? So for me, I would like to look at the requirements when it comes to housing, and maybe also go back and look at some of these buildings that we have that are boarded up to see what contractors can come in here. I know you have to talk to the zoning and very municipalities, but see what can we utilize with the boarded up housing and the buildings that we already have to see if we can refurbish them. And I think that would be a conversation for government on all levels, your local,
You're,
your
you're
county, and
to-
your state.
You're totally right. And like the VA, like we're a Coast Guard community. I'm sorry, these are things that I'm really passionate about. The VA has a 0% down payment program, but they don't have a rehabilitation component of it. Like the FHA has the 203K program, where you can acquire a property and use the after completed value of the home to structure the mortgage terms. And the VA doesn't have that kind of program. There are discrepancies, as Jamita just talked about, with accessing some of the programs. For instance, it's 28%, or old rule, like 28-38% that can be used towards housing, where Fannie Mae can actually, under the QM and non QM rules, I know it gets gone technical, you can actually go up to 43% of your income. There is definitely misalignment on the housing programs.
Mouse off once already. Oh,
But if we can solve the supply issue, I really, just basic economics, that would really go a long way.
okay. Again, for anyone there, I don't know if you've been following the whole process, the progress of recreational marijuana use. This has created a lot of problems. The Cannabis Regulatory Commission seems like it's a very complicated organization to work with. People have been investing money, not able to open, and it also creates issues for law enforcement, who are now dealing. Well, they have been dealing with like driving while under the influence, but perhaps more so. Any feelings about the issue, what needs to be done, either to tighten things up or loosen things up or whatever? What's your feeling about that?
As a retired police officer, driving under the influence is driving under the influence. I personally think if you're caught marijuana, alcohol, whatever it may be, penalties need to be enhanced. We got to get it under control. I'm not telling anybody what to do with their lives, but I have 17 grandchildren. I have 4 children. They're out there on those streets also. You're under the influence of whatever it may be, and you're driving and you injure one of them. Now I'm lost, because I've lost someone that I care deeply about. So I think regulations need to be tightened up. I also think, as I've been trying to find out, where does all that money go that they're making on this? Why are we not getting a piece of it? We made it legal, so now we should be getting something back from it. That could go to help this homeless situation. That could go to help the housing situation. They need to give it back.
Position on the offshore wind farms. There seems to be a split among political parties. The local Republican Party is very much opposed to it and had something like 7 lawsuits filed to try and stop it. Our governor is for it. Your feelings on the offshore wind projects?
I'll go first. I'm a strong proponent of clean energy. However, with the pending litigation and the delay until 2026, we have time to do our due diligence and study the matter thoroughly. It's essential that we make informed decisions that benefit both our environment and our economy. We want to ensure that any offshore wind projects are not only environmentally responsible, but also economically viable for our community. During this time, we will engage with stakeholders, evaluate potential risk, and carefully consider all the factors involved. Furthermore, as a taxpayer in Cape May County, I would like to know how much our county commissioners are paying for these lawsuits. And is that money being used appropriately?
To add off of what Ms. O'Connor said, I would like to, in the research, bring in the companies that create or build the offshore wind system from other countries, just to hear their expertise on it and share some light of effectiveness or non-effectiveness, that if we brought those in, what it would look like.
This issue is very upsetting from a political perspective, because there's so much misinformation out there, and it's really come down along party lines. I find that very disheartening, and goes back to my need for a balanced government.
I've been researching it, and the pros that I found, it brings jobs. It brings high-paying jobs, and you don't need a college degree to have them. The only negative I could find is that they hum and they mess up the migration pattern or the spawning patterns of the sea life. And from what I understand, they're working to fix that. I don't know a lot about it. I'm still researching it. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to bring jobs, you're going to bring money into the communities, you can't see them from your house because they're like 15, 18 miles offshore. If you do see them, they probably look like they're an inch high. I'm still researching, but right now I'm all for it.
Okay, let me. Last fall, I had a story about developmental centers and some concern for that the parents had for their children who are in developmental centers. One mother said her son had 245 injuries in about a 7-month period. There was a bill out there to require cameras to be put in the rooms of residents at like the Woodbine Developmental Center. One of the objections was that it would eliminate privacy. The parents were for the cameras with the interest of security. And does anyone have any feeling perhaps on which part is more important, the resident security or their privacy?
I would like to answer that.
Mhm.
As a parent, as an educator, the security to me would be more important. I understand privacy is an issue. However, if this baby had over 200 plus injuries within a 7-month period, somebody got to answer a whole lot of questions. And unfortunately, because these developmental centers are here, it's going to be the word against the residents and a word against the workers. So we need to put something else into place to see what is actually going on. And once we see what is going on, I think we can make a more informed decision of policies and protocols that should go into place to protect those that are in the developmental center. So I would be for the cameras.
I'll add to that. I'm a mother of 4, 2 with disabilities. I have a very disabled nonverbal son with autism who was in the Woods School in Langhorne, and now he's under the care of Couch Associates in Berlin. We visit him often, but if there was an issue, I'd absolutely want cameras there. That would take priority.
Yeah, Beverly McCall, I think you touched on this before, but again, not a lot of people know about the judge surrogate's office until they actually need the surrogate. So, would you do things to introduce the office to the residents of Cape May County?
Yeah, like I had said, I think it's important to kind of socialize with groups. The Colony Club in Ocean City, the Rotary Club, the Lions, not just Democratic and Republican clubs, but have town halls, so to speak, or informational meetings about, why you should have a living will, why you should have a will, what's the difference between a will and a living will. I think that's helpful because, when I first started, a lot of people thought I was running for surrogate, and that meant I wanted to have babies for other people. Except like the age thing was kind of like off for that. But anyway, yeah, I agree. There should be some outreach from the office.
Okay. There was people had introduced the issue of homelessness. Some statistics say that 85% of homeless people have substance abuse issues, whether it's alcohol or other. And then of that 85%, 30% have mental health issues. Does that suggest that homelessness is just a symptom of a problem that we need to be taking care of, or problems?
As of January 2023, New Jersey has 10,267 homeless, so they say. They say in our county, Cumberland County, there's 164. Atlantic County, there's 440. And Cape May County, 198 homeless. The mental health aspect of that, there are 3,365 individuals in our state that are homeless that they say have mental health issues. So yes, I agree, there's an underlying condition that needs to be taken care of to help our homeless.
I agree with Eddie on that issue, but the lack of affordable housing, whether it be rental or home ownership, also leads to our homeless problem. And the person may or may not have drug and alcohol or mental health issues. I mean, a lot of them do, but not everyone. And I think I think that falls on the shoulders of women who have children, and we really need to take this issue seriously.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah,
add something to that?
Sure.
It goes back to what we mentioned before, the requirements that come along. The cost of living in New Jersey is extremely high. The mortgages and the rent is what is also leading to our homeless issue. And what can we do? What laws can we go back into and re-examine to make it affordable and accessible for all? I feel like if you there's no win-win situation in New Jersey. That's why so many people are leaving, because it is just extremely too expensive to live here. Our wages are not equaling what our monthly expenses are. So what maybe what we need to do is look at it to say, okay, here's the issue. What are some of these suggestions, and how can we put this into legislation to help our residents? Thank you.
My first question probably should have been for Harvey Roach. How much time do I have?
Well, how many more questions do you anticipate?
No, I think that's about it for now.
Okay, all right. Well, I just wanted to give you plenty of chance to go through your list. We're not pressed for time, but I just wanted to make sure you had plenty of opportunity to get your questions in. If you think you finished them up, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'd like to give our candidates an opportunity to have just a couple of minutes to give closing remarks, to let everybody know why they're the best for the job, why they should be supported, why they're in this. I'd like to call on Beverly McCall first.
Thank you. So I'm running for surrogate. I think I'm the better qualified of the two candidates. And I just hope that tonight I maybe answered some of your questions. And if you have any further questions, you can call me at any time. My cell number is 425-1519. I have it with me all the time. Clients call me all hours of the day and night. And, that's what I'm here for, to help people. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. Patricia O'Connor.
Hello, everyone. I invite you to visit my website, which is o'connorcmc.com. There's a platform, and there's a little bit about me. I was talking to a friend, Susan DeLonzo, and she asked me to tell her a little bit about me. And I shared a story about what my daughter used to say about me. She said, "Ma, we'd go to the grocery store, go anywhere we went." And she says, "Why do people always tell you their whole life story?" And well, we had 4 kids, so we were in line at the grocery store for a pretty long time. But anyway, and I said that's because I listen and I care. So I encourage you to look at my section on the website called Patricia Cares. I believe our system needs a recalculation of what is important, and that's our county residents. And I believe I'm just the person to refocus our efforts and bring back power to the people for the good of our community. And I promise trust, truth, and transparency. I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Demita White Morris.
Good evening again, everyone. I am Demita White Mars, and I would like to say thank you, everybody, for taking your time to come out and ask us questions and hear our answers and spend some time with us. It has been very informative, and I really did enjoy myself. Thank you for all that you have done and all that you are doing to support Mr. Bonner and I. Please go on to Facebook as well as Instagram. Check out our pages. We also have a website. I believe it was dropped in the chat. We also have a fundraiser that is coming up in October. If you all are available, please come out and support us. I am looking forward to all that we are going to do as elected officials, as well as residents of our various counties. Our slogan is, "We are better together. Divided we fall, together we stand." Your voice is your vote. So please do not just think that when you come out on election day, that's it. We have so much work to do. We really want to come into your communities. We want to build relationships, and we want to hear what you have to say, so that we can make a more informed and effective decision when we get to Trenton. Thank you again. And thank you, Madam Chair from Cape May, and thank you, Harvey, for all that you have done.
Thank you very much. Eddie Bonner? You're on mute.
I knew that, Harvey. I was testing you. Again, my name is Eddie Bonner, and I'm your Democratic candidate for New Jersey Assembly. I want to thank you for inviting me to this. A lot of you I've met before. I am no nonsense. I'm straight and direct and to the point, as some of you know. I'll be the same way in that state house. I'm not afraid to open my mouth. I'm not afraid to speak up for you. I'm one person that you can write it in stone. I cannot be bought. And as one of my favorite presidents would say, Abraham Lincoln, the ballot is stronger than the bullet. We got to get out and vote.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who registered and came out tonight and participated. This is the first Meet the Candidates Zoom that we have done. And we're very pleased that you took the time tonight to join us. We want to have a special thank you to Representative Sherrill and Representative Kim for taking time out of their schedule to join us this evening and share a few words with us. Thank you especially to the 4 candidates. You know, it takes a special person to be a candidate, to go out there and work hard every day and to carry the banner of the Democratic Party and to speak their values and put themselves on the line. So a special thank you to the 4 candidates tonight. Folks, don't forget to vote. Vote by mail will be coming out around September 23rd. And if you want to register, if you're not registered for vote by mail, you can reach out to the county clerk's office to take care of that. Please don't forget to visit the Cape May County Democratic Facebook page, the Instagram page, and a special thank you to our IT people and to our public relations people, without whom this night would never have come off. So until next time, I bid you a fond good night from Cape May County. Good night.
Hi, Harvey.